Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 27 minutes to 7 o'clock. We'd like to welcome you to the morning show right here on Love FM and Love Television. It is August the 17th day of August 2026. Pleasant good morning to all our viewers and listeners throughout the length and breadth of this beautiful jewel of ours. Those of you streaming in the diaspora, we're certainly glad that you could join us. You're celebrating your birthday today. We want to wish you a very special happy birthday, as well as if you're celebrating an anniversary. We're glad you stuck it out. Want to say a pleasant good morning to our news director, Renee Trujillo, right here in studios on set this morning. Renee, how's it going? How's the morning?
Morning, Troy. Morning is very beautiful.
You got your coffee, so then you're starting off on the right foot.
Yes, and we have a lot to talk about today.
Yes. So what we could do is quickly, it's Monday, and then because it's Monday, there's always going to be the Sunday lottery draw that we do a recap. Very quickly, first prize, 5367, 5367, with 67 being the single winning number, and it's a winning number for William as well.
Again?
Mm-hmm. 6589, 6589 is the second prize, and 3193 is the third prize. 3193, third prize. Missing numbers 0, 2, and 4. 0, 2, and 4. So there you have it. Got to be in it to win it. So if you didn't win, we suggest you could try the Bolito tonight. That comes up at 9:10 right here on Love FM and Love Television. So we take a quick break at 25 minutes to 7. Come back, and then we start dealing with the major topics.
People, not businesses, power the economy.
20 minutes to 7 o'clock. We're back to the morning show right here on Love FM and Love Television. And we're certainly glad you could join us this morning. Quite a number of things have been happening in our neck of the woods. And as usual, I'm joined on Mondays by our news director right here at Love FM and Love Television, Renee Trujillo. Renee, again, good morning.
I met somebody, just a random stranger. She said, let me make sure I'm pronouncing your name correct, because Troy can't seem to get it right. And I just laughed. I don't know who she was, but she just came up to me and said, let me.
We were talking about name pronunciation
Right.
just a while ago.
Last week, I think it was,
Yes,
because it was
even during the
week.
break, we were talking about name pronunciation.
Just all right, yeah.
Yeah, so
Because I was asking if it was Michelle or Marshall.
Michelle,
Because
yes,
I hear
yes,
people
yes,
say
yes.
Marshall. I say, hear people say Marshall.
Yes, so it's Marshall and it's Renee.
So he,
Renee.
the Brooklyn Library is
But
launching
you know,
an
just
exhibition.
like I said, they call me Try too, so you know.
Troy.
So
Troy.
what's in her name, as they say? I tell them, call me anything but late for supper or dinner, and don't call me Colic. But call me anything.
Colic is still a thing?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but
But probably still, but in maybe when you're trying to call from the prisoner somewhere.
well, there you go. There's a thought. I don't even know how that works. But anyway, so talking about Marshall, I read this weekend that the Brooklyn Library has launched an exhibition in honor of him for being, a very, like a cultural ambassador for Trinidad and cultural music and soca and what have you. Just a by the way kind
That's
of
a
thing.
great.
But Troy, one of the primary things that happened over the weekend that I thought was interesting, actually there were several things, but at the top of my list would be the PUP convention in Punta Gorda yesterday. I think that was interesting, to say the least. Carlos Obia Galvez, the current mayor, did not make it in that convention as the next mayoral candidate.
Yeah.
What I find interesting is that the person who won, Mr. Maclovia Ack, is also a union member, a very active member of the National Teachers Union, I think it is. And he's also Mr. BNTU. The first ever, I think, Mr. BNTU.
Okay.
And Paul, our correspondent, was on the ground the entire day. Thank you so much, Paul and Fernando, for being there. They were bringing us hourly coverage of the voter count, of the results and what have you. I think I sent you the full results today. You got it, though?
Yeah, I have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so
1,233 persons voted yesterday.
out of 300 and something. So Maclovia Ack will be the new PUP mayoral candidate come March 2027 for the municipal elections. And so we have that confirmed there. For Punta Gorda, we know Mayor Robert Mariano is going to be endorsed for Dangriga. You know, Wally Nunes is going to be endorsed for San Pedro. In Corozal, Rigo Vellas again will be seeking a fourth term, I think it is, as mayor. In Orange Walk, we know Ladrick Shepherd is going to be endorsed. In Benquevejo del Carmen, that convention comes up, I think, this weekend. Between Jorge Rosales and Jenny Martinez.
Belize City.
And then you have Belize City.
I
feel like I'm missing somebody. Pablo Kawich is going to be endorsed as well for Belmopan. So I think I covered the 9 municipalities right there. So the only 2 pending now for PUP is Benque and San Ignacio. Right. I think Aaron Mai is being endorsed for San Ignacio.
Okay.
If I recall correctly, that's what the PUP chairman had said. So for San Ignacio, you have Aaron Mai, and then
Francis Arzu got 209 and Obia got 392.
So you only have Belize City and you have Benquevejo
in terms of PUP
left in terms of PUP. I haven't heard anything about UDP. I'm not going to.
Well, the thing
Get
is,
into
we
that
know
one.
the Dangriga one was, they had a convention in Dangriga. They had done the endorsement for Earl Trapp, and then they had the Benke as well last week.
The guy Gera. Yusuf Gera and Dangrega was Dwayne Sampson, right?
Yeah, so those are set.
I've heard the name Jacqueline Willoughby being floated around for Belize City, but there hasn't been any kind of official confirmation from the party on that. And right now, if you're on social media, you see a lot of flyers popping up with this one wanting to run, that one wanting to run, and so in Belize City, however...
Once I heard Philip Willoughby wanted to...
Right, I heard that as well. But like I said, there's no PR or no kind of communication coming out of the UDP. So until then, we stick to what we know.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of flyers coming out for Belize City. I know that's going to be a very dynamic convention. And because of the 10 constituencies that make up Belize City, it was impossible, really, for PUP to have a closed convention like what it had in Corozal and Punta Gorda. Because I think with the delegates out of those 10 area constituencies, you can make a very handsome amount of voters.
Well, it will be a delegate convention for all intent and purposes. It's going to be only delegates that will be allowed
for Belize City. So I know for the last few weeks, the candidates have been meeting with the delegates, trying to convince them and let them know or find out why they should vote for these specific persons. And, Troy, there are some changes on the list. The additions that are coming on that are aspiring to get on the slate, and I have a funny feeling that we're going to see a refresher in terms of the slate for Belize City, which would not be a bad thing.
People's United Party.
Correct, for the People's United Party, because you have new faces coming out. You have the young man Alpuche. I know him from Antelope Street. His friend, his uncle Miguel. You know Miguel, very good friend of mine. And then you have this guy, Kirk. I don't remember what his last name is.
Is it?
Kirk.
Yeah, I don't want to call it
exactly.
the wrong name. And then
but you have new faces that you see coming out. And so I think that's... we should say a refresher.
The important thing to note at this point in time is that they're not candidates. They're aspirants. They're aspirants.
Aspirants,
so
yes.
They will still need to go to a convention, and then
Correct.
it's going
and
to
their
be
convention
the
is
one
at
with
the
the
end
top
of the month.
10 votes is going to be the slate.
The slate.
Along with whoever the mayoral candidate for the People's United Party turns out to be. So, and then subsequently the election comes up first Wednesday in March 2027.
I was in a group on Friday, and they were talking about the Belize City Convention. And the majority in that group that I was at, their opinion of the whole PUP convention, particularly mayoral candidates, is if you want good looks, you vote for Alan Pollard. Good looks and charisma. If you want somebody who has the intellectual wherewithal and the knowledge or the institutional knowledge of how things are at City Council, and you want, what's the word? What was the word they use? Continuity. Then you vote for Elwood Miller. And I found it curious because these are young people, These are young people, totally, and they were discussing it, and I just smiled, and I was enjoying the conversation, the way they weighed how they're going to vote, or who they're going to vote, or what their perceptions are.
Oh, yeah, because the thing is...
No, they won't vote at the convention, but I'm saying what the discussion is like, because, yes, it's what the delegates think is what matters, but it's interesting when you are in certain circles and you're listening to how people decide who their candidate of choice is, what are some of the factors that they look at, what are some of the things that they look at, and, there was another one who said that if she was able to vote, she may have voted for what do you got him? Alan Pollard, because he's handsome and he this. But nothing about what he brings to the table in terms of can he run the city. It was all about looks. Oh, I will vote for him because he's fine. He this, he that. And I was like, really? Wow.
Well,
you're going to use your vote because the candidate is attractive.
Whatever works, because politics is a popularity contest.
No, but it's interesting to see how the electorate ways who's going to run
Yeah.
their city, their country, their division.
Yes,
You know, what
yes.
are the factors that they look at for that? I just think it's
and it's
interesting.
important that the candidates understand the dynamics of how the voter makeup is going to be. Fundamentally, Pollard been there since 2018 as a member of the council. He's been deputy mayor several times. Eliud is going through his first term, but he's been around the council in previous council as the mayor's aide or attaché, that sort of thing.
Well, actually, I remember he
he's been
started
involved.
out as an intern.
Yeah, he's been involved with the council for a very long time. So, like for most persons that I speak to in an honest conversation, for them it's a very tough choice if they had to select between the two of them, because he felt that both of them are deserving of the opportunity. But again, you only could select one, so you have to be able to.
That's always
decide.
a hard choice to make when you know that two persons are deserving of the position, but yet you can only pick one. That's always a hard choice. Also, Troy, over the weekend you had Miss Universe. Did you know that? Miss Universe Police?
You know, I didn't know.
I didn't know either.
I turned on. I was flipping through the channels on Saturday night, and then I saw this thing on Next Gen, and I said. It said Miss Universe in the background, and two young ladies were kind of interviewing people. But then I was like, I didn't hear no advertisement for that. I didn't know anything about that.
Neither
happening.
did I.
We did hear about Miss Earth continuously. There was a Miss Black or African this weekend. I heard about that, but I never heard about Miss Universe. And I'm saying, why I don't recognize? Is this a replay? But then I looked and it said live, and I said. Because I was thinking maybe it's a replay, so I'm looking for Ms. Sabane and different persons there, and I can't see them. These were like new faces, and so I'm going like, there were, if I remember, I think it was five or six. I think there were 6 contestants on the stage. I didn't. I must have fell asleep or something. I didn't continue to watch it because I felt maybe it was a replay.
Well, apparently it was a holy mess. Because one, there
And they
was
made a
no
mistake.
awareness in terms of, like you're saying, nobody knew.
Yeah.
I was scrolling through Facebook, and how I found out was because a good friend of mine posted and said, am I in another dimension? How did I not know that there's a
Me
Miss
too.
Universe Police
Me
happening
too.
tonight? And she's an avid
Because
follower of
normally the
pageants,
delegates
so-
would come here, we would interview them and all of
Right.
that. And what was weird, a judge who doesn't speak good English got up and says, there was a mistake. We were not supposed to, in the finalists or the final cut, we were supposed to
Pick five and they picked
6. And then that sounded confusing, and I guess I don't know if I tuned out or I switched the channel. I don't remember what
It was
happened.
a mess. So there was what they call a Steve Harvey moment, because they were trying to do some damage control on the actual Miss Universe Police Facebook page. And so they said, oh, we're having a Steve Harvey moment. Like, dude, you don't have Steve Harvey moments.
No,
That's
2016 is a disaster.
right. And so they had that. There was no publicity. They use a Tikal archaeological site as the background during the cultural presentations. Tikal is in Guatemala for me to add context.
My concern was I thought that it was the same group that did Miss Universe last year, where
No.
they did a huge.
So apparently there was a thing that they tried to. It just came out like it was
Where
just
was it
out
being
there.
held?
It was in San Pedro at Mahogany Bay.
Oh.
So apparently
But it
what
looked very
happened
small
is
and
that
close.
the franchise now belongs to a company from El Salvador. So it's no longer Belizean run or Belizean managed. It's managed by a company an organization in El Salvador, because the franchise was awarded to that company.
Okay.
So here you have an El Salvador company running.
But where did they
A
get
pageant.
contestant? We didn't even know they were.
I didn't even know there
they
was
were
a
recruiting.
selection. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, I agree with you that I did catch a glimpse of it. It had a kind of like this big blue background with just Miss Universe in white as a backdrop. So I figure it's more an electronic backdrop that they had there. And that's how I knew it was 2026, because it's there. And then And then because Next Gen was carrying it and it said live, but I was puzzled because I was thinking it was a replay because I never heard there was going to be a pageant being held at that level. Because Miss Universe is the biggest beauty pageant any.
Right.
Miss Belize.
And you heard more about
Universe.
Miss Earth Belize than you did about Miss Universe.
Well, it was on Love all over. And,
right. And then Saturday night as well, there was the MBIA pageant.
The Miss Black or something.
Black International.
Yeah, and I
something,
heard about
something.
that, so I knew. First, I thought it was that I was looking at, but then afterwards, and I switched. I must have gone to MMA or something that was on at the same time. But because the confusion was what initially caught my attention, and all I did was, basically shake your head kind of thing and move on.
Miss Black International, right?
Yeah, because this judge came and he says we were supposed to pick 5 and we only picked 6, and now the 2 hosts, which is 2 female, they didn't know what to do, so they said we'll take a break. But then the television didn't take a break. When initially the screen stood there, and then the young ladies continued to stand on the stage, in kind of no man's land kind of area. So it was.
You know what, Troy? It's not even worth giving that much airtime to it. It was a mess.
Yeah, and
for the Miss Black International.
You know what? They remind me of a time
Ambassador.
when we did an appointment in a living room.
Right, that did happen. I was like, that did happen.
You serious?
That did happen.
There was a living room appointment of an individual, and I'm like, that can't be how you kind of get the country behind a delegate that you intend to ship out to the Miss Universe. You kind of have to build. You have to build up a momentum. You have to build up a craving and a recognition of that individual. Otherwise, you put that person in a kind of invidious position where the appointment or the selection is not considered authentic, and so you always have bickering around that candidate. Even when she travels, because it's always going to be a she when she travels.
Right.
So the point is.
So that person is going to represent us at Miss Universe come next year.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you had Miss Black International Ambassador pageant as well Saturday night. Mariam Abdul won that.
Okay.
And she also placed 3 last week in the People's Choice Award. There was a vote online. So congratulations to her. And so Troy.
I think she tried her hand at Miss Belize at Universe already.
Oh, she did?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. And then there were 3 fatals over the weekend. Was it 3? Yes, there were 3.
3.
You had a
policeman,
a farmer.
Yeah.
And
another person riding a bicycle.
Right.
Yeah, there was one riding a bike that it was a pickup knocking down the bike and crashing into a motorcycle. But the bike rider died. And then we had the one with the police by Biscayne.
PC Toledano.
And then the one in Independence.
Right. So we had 3 fatals over the weekend as well. And then the weekend, I saw pictures and videos of the long lines at the Mexican and the Guatemalan border.
Yeah.
Back to school today for a lot of students, and I guess those are...
in the middle of the back to school, but there's another one in a month too, the GST free weekend.
Well, you had the GST free weekend on Saturday as well, but still you had long lines heading to Melcher and long lines heading to Chetumal over the weekend.
Yeah, we saw that, and I don't know how we will.
What I found curious was one parent went on social media this weekend and said, a few weeks ago she went to the area when they call Lee Melcher. You know that Lee vicinity there was sell school uniforms, and she went to find out how much her child's high school uniform would cost. And so when she went there, they told her that it's going to cost $50. So she said she's going to wait until GST free weekend to go and buy her uniform, because then 50 minus 12.5% is a saving, no? And she went there, and when she went there on Saturday to get her GST-free uniform, the price was now $60.
What?
So she went there 2 weeks ago. They quoted her $50 for the size and the high school uniform that she wanted. So she said, okay, $50, I'm going to save up and come GST-free weekend. I'm going to come and get my uniforms, right? She went there and the price went up to $60. And she queried from the salesperson, the vendor, well, 2 weeks ago it was 50. Well, things gone up, prices gone up, da-da-da-da.
Sure.
And so I think it's these informal sales that BTSD, that the tax services really need to get at,
Right.
because that's fleecing and that's taking advantage, and they're probably not even paying you the proper taxes for those uniforms. Because when you go, I could remember, I don't know if things have changed because it's been a while. I actually missed the whole back to school shopping.
You do?
Yes, I was thinking this weekend and I said, oh my goodness, I remember when I used to have to go and you get a school bag, you get textbooks, you get uniforms. I don't have to worry about none of that again.
No.
But anyway, and I was thinking that when I used to go and buy uniforms for my son and my daughter, you don't get receipts. When you go buy your vest, your socks, your tights, and all and anything, the Lee Melcher and the areas, they don't give you a
Little
receipt.
Melcher.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that the tax services need to get after these businesses because they're taking advantage of Belizean people, one. And two, they're probably not even paying their proper taxes that they're supposed to be paying.
And because they're doing that, they're forcing people to make decisions to take their money outside of this jurisdiction as well. I'm not saying that that's a proper justification,
No,
but
but
you're giving people reasons.
Exactly, and not only that, what you're also doing is you're forcing the tax services to take action across the board to mitigate or eliminate this kind of practice, which which presents more challenges for people who are law abiding, right? Because then you have to try adjust to new systems, new approaches, new strategies to avoid exactly what these people are doing.
Yep.
So, yeah.
But let's take a break, 2 minutes after 7, and we come right back and continue our discussions.
Introducing Grow
It's now 7 minutes after 7 o'clock. We want to welcome you to our broadcast right here on Love FM and Love Television to The Morning Show. In studios with me is Renee Trujillo, our news director, and we're talking about some of the things that have been happening within our neck of the woods. What else has been happening, Renee? I guess BTL becomes
Troy, Friday when we left off, you had the BTL smart situation. We were expecting, what was it? So Cabinet gave their decision on Thursday, which came very unexpectedly because we understood that there would have been a meeting tomorrow, the 18th of August, which would have determined where Cabinet stood. But with the cancellation of the meeting with BCCI and the union, NTUCB, on Thursday, then I guess that would have been the last round of consultations before Cabinet made a decision. So with the cancellation of that, they made their decision on Thursday. They sent out a release saying that they're not going to pursue, or they're not voting in favor of the acquisition.
They rejected that.
They rejected the acquisition, and so that essentially put to bed the proposed acquisition by BTL to buy over Smart. So that's no longer on the table. The unions, however, don't want to hear that. The unions say, no, we're still going to protest tomorrow because now we need the BTL board to go back in meeting and reject and rescind their yes vote to the acquisition.
Well, they not demonstrate. They have no impetus to do that. I'm sure they won't be able to do any sort, and they won't get the turnout. They knew that from the start because most teachers are on holiday, where the bulk of the force was going to come from.
I think even if the Cabinet had not rejected it, they would not have had the turnout.
They would have shown a weak performance. But the point is this, because I'm always try to approach these things from a pragmatic standpoint. It's nonsense when Cabinet is the highest decision-making body in this country. In addition to that, government is the majority shareholder. When Cabinet says stand down, then that's it. So don't try to create more hysteria unnecessarily, because the Belizean people don't need that. The fact that Cabinet approved it, the matter is done.
Rejected
it. If you go and you say that the matter can be revived again, any matter can be revived at any time. So that is a waste of time argument. Tomorrow, a new government could come in and say, we want to do it this way as well, if they believe that they have the mandate to do so. So to say that the BTL board need to go back and rescind that matter will just not be on the agenda anymore. That's what it means. The Cabinet is saying, no matter what you all had decided at the board level, once we reject it, the matter is done. And I think in the statement from the chairman to the staff has put the matter to rest as well by saying that. So give the people the right information. Don't create hysteria unnecessarily because you want to continue to keep a movement going. Obviously, that's what you're doing. I'm pragmatic. The matter is, some people like call it DED, is dead. From a corporate standpoint, it can't go forward anymore because Cabinet has not given its blessing. How are you going to be able to institute something that the leaders of the country are totally against, who represents the people? You can't go forward. The Public Utilities Commission won't even look at a matter like that once Cabinet can't give its blessing. Who comes under the Ministry of Public Utilities? So, really and truly, it is much ado about anything at this point in time. The proposal was put forward. The general feeling from the people is, we don't believe we have enough information. We don't like it. We don't want it to happen that way. And Cabinet says, okay, if it's they're all politicians around that table, bar one, in terms of having a constituent. And I'm sure they hear whatever noise coming from their constituent, and maybe acted in that level, that consensus. And whatever the decision is that they can't go forward, they have rejected it. That is DD. So, quite honestly, to kind of try to make this matter about the board going and this matter can still...
So that's only one factor. The second factor is calling for Mark Lizarraga's head. That's another one. I guess because he put forth a proposal, I think they're being irrational and ridiculous, to be honest. We did ask PUP Chairman Henry Usher about that. What was his take on it? And he said, okay, fine. So an idea to do a merger came about. It didn't work out, it failed. It's not a reflection of the chairman's performance. A reflection of the chairman's performance is essentially that BTL has been seeing an increase in dividends, an increase in performance. That's what you measure somebody's performance by, not because one project that they wanted to enter into did not come to fruition. That's not, you can't measure, it would be unfair to measure Mark Lizarraga by that one single case. Managers, business owners take on projects all the time. Some work, some don't work. What you're going to just take away the business from somebody because they were brave enough to try and, see what they can do to expand the company. You don't do that, right? And so that's one. And two, I think it's the NTUCB that wanted details in terms of how this acquisition came about anyway. And so apparently it's all in the name of these things that they want to protest tomorrow.
To what end? Again, this is the foolhardy mentality we're having. If the matter is dead, what's the point of how it came about? How it came about? What? That I call you and ask you if you want to sell? Is that what you want to hear? What it is that you're trying to achieve? You see, we have to rationalize, and that's why you notice the chamber kind of put themselves, because they are business people, and the chamber made it clear that we are not saying that we will not want to go and sit with cabinet, but we had what they consider a pressing matter in terms of the partial scope presentation in Salvador, which is critical for them and this country.
Of course.
And so
the private sector.
I wouldn't say they distance themselves from the whole concept, but they kind of created an avenue where they made it clear that we are here for business.
Troy. So the NTUCB will not be demonstrating again.
Ta-da.
They had a meeting over the weekend, and they decided that they're going to have a press conference tomorrow instead, and not a protest or a demonstration.
I know that
so
would have been inevitable.
I did forget indeed that they were meeting over the weekend. So thank you so much for that update. Okay. So the protest is off the table for the NTUCB. But
call me Notre Dame.
hold on, Google. BNTU did make a statement on Friday.
Waste of time.
BNTU said we're protesting with or without the NTUCB.
It don't matter.
So the NTUCB met and said, okay, we're not protesting tomorrow again. But BNTU said on Friday, with or without NTUCB, we are still going to protest.
Again, very
so
foolhardy.
it is left to be seen how that's going to play.
It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, they will pull back same. You mark my word, they are going to pull back the same way. They are going to say, well, they'll come up with a thing. We'll join the press conference and whatever the case may be, because our umbrella body is taking that position. Because the point is this, is that if you want to be gung-ho out there on your own, and then you put forward a weak position, then basically the next time you won't be taken seriously by your members. So you have to be able to be on a strong footing. You don't have a premise anymore to be out there. Whatever other national issue, the opposition attempted to do that already, and that situation didn't pan out well for them.
Talking about the opposition, for this to be such a major issue or a very hot button issue over the last few months, the BTL proposed acquisition of Smart, the opposition has been very weak in opposing the merger. You see them come out They try broke down BTL door. We're past that. I would like to think that we're no longer about destruction or damage to property and if that is what the opposition is pushing for, no, I don't want that. You have no right to go and destroy anybody's property. I remember we went live one day when it was the Yellow Man who went and said, we're going to break this down because we could pay back for it. No, that's not, no. Why are we into destruction?
Pay back with what?
Why do we have to destroy things and break people's property?
Let's be clear.
And so I'm saying, that was just a segue, but I'm saying that the opposition has been very weak in opposing.
They don't have a moral ground to stand on. They cost us $600 million for BTL. So they know from a political standpoint, they don't have a moral footing. So the less they can say about this matter is better for them. The same as it relates to the issue of the Bolida and all of that. They try to stay away from these things because that is still fresh in the minds of right-thinking Belizeans that we overpaid for BTL a significant amount, and that all comes into play today when the government, when this merger was thinking or appearing to happen, because you have some of the same players like Mike Lashcroft and them involved in this as well, and that those things have left bad taste in the mouth of Belizeans.
Listen, it's like what I say, BTL is the abused wife. And every time a new husband comes along, the minute anything that is perceived as, oh my goodness, another challenge or another torture for BTL, you want to step in to defend BTL without even looking at the entire picture. The minute, because every administration has used poor BTL as their punching bag.
Right.
And so we're at a position now where we just want to defend BTL regardless of anything. So even if this were a good acquisition, it doesn't matter because you're trying to protect the abused wife, the abused child.
Last week, Monday, I kind of made the case that barring what we have not seen or so, it made some sense to look, if I was looking from BTL, try to get rid of my competition the best way I could. And that's what even though I might some may think I overpaid for it, I get rid of my competition. I don't have to have this big marketing team. I don't have to have all of these investment in advertisement and all of that. That's for me looking, and that's what if I was running BTL, you look at. But
from a cash flow perspective and from a perspective of wanting to
do well
that,
for your company.
Then
so,
yes. From
so
a business
lens
perspective,
you want to look at it through.
It was a very good deal from a business perspective. I had the opportunity to see the presentation. I was able to see how they were going to handle the employees at Smart. There would have been a 12-month transition. And BTL was saying chances are we might not even have to fire anybody from Smart because BTL is no longer what you call a telecom company. It's a techno company. So they're into softwares. They're into the whole cloud storage and the cloud development area. So it's not only about cell service and internet. There's so many other aspects of what Digi is getting into that they would have tried to incorporate the Smart employees into Digi, but in different areas of the company. And they would have done that during a 12-month transition period. So there would have been no immediate termination of employees at Smart, right? And these are the things that I think perhaps were being clouded or were being, were drowned in the other talks. Because the truth of the matter is, Troy, I don't think anybody, and I stand to be corrected, but I don't think any of these leaders, whether it's the union leader, the chamber leader, I don't think any of them really, maybe the chamber, but barring them, I don't think anybody really looked at the details of the transaction, the acquisition. I think what they looked at were the players. And the players were, one, the Briceño family. Why well, there's a conflict of interest because that's the Prime Minister's brother. Why am I going to make the Briseno family any richer? They're feeding off the poor people. This is the kind of mentality that was being applied when in the acquisition, and not necessarily to say, you know what, BTL does have some very salient points in terms of why this acquisition would work, or, you know, maybe this, or there was no real consideration of that. And the other key player is essentially persona non grata Lord Ashcroft, because he has fleeced from this country significantly in terms of lawsuits and all of that and what have you. So nobody really wanted to play that. Like you're up on the playground, and when he come on the playground, everybody go home because nobody want to deal with that, right? And so it's not, I don't think it was necessarily about the nitty-gritty or the details of the acquisition and how that would have worked out, more than it had to do with the players in the game. Nobody wanted to hear anything about Ashcroft, so that went through the door. And the whole mentality of, oh, the Prime Minister just want to get richer and da-da-da-da-da. And I think it's unfortunate, one second, Troy. I think it's unfortunate because now that Cabinet has issued a decision, I think what a lot of Belizean people don't understand is that Ashcroft will come back. Ashcroft will come back, and the writing is on the wall, and I hope that I'm wrong, that Belize will get some lawsuits after this because of the same failed acquisition. Let me explain why I believe that. So remember, during the entire acquisition process, there was the PUC who rendered an independent opinion in terms of the telecom sector in Belize. In that opinion, essentially they declared that BTL had market dominance. That's an official position, right? From the regulator, right? So now with the failed acquisition, what Ashcroft can do is use that as the backdrop of a lawsuit to say for the last however long, 30 years or however long Smart has been in business, or for however long that independent opinion backdated to, we have not had a fair and equal platform in terms of competition with BTL, because you have declared BTL the dominant with market dominance, right?
Right.
And so that would give him some sort of leverage or the backdrop to now sue the government, because the government has not been providing a fair or a level playing
that's what
field
he's claiming
in the sector. That's what he's claiming.
Or they're claiming.
And so I'm saying that we might end up, don't be surprised if we end up with an even bigger lawsuit than the $80 million that BTL would have spent in acquiring Smart, because now a release went out from Ashcroft. Sorry, it's not from Ashcroft, my apologies, from Smart, from SpeedNet, essentially declaring, referring to that very same PUC market dominance survey. A release came out, and that for me, the minute I saw that release, I said, there we go. The lawsuit will follow right after this. And I think that it would put us in a very unfortunate position, and we're going to end up paying more.
Yeah, if you back up a bit, the way how they operated, or way how maybe the alliance operated, because they're the majority shareholder, they made the sale a bit difficult in terms of information sharing for whatever reason. And that created a lot of speculation and concerns in the mind of Belizeans, the alliance. And I refer to the alliance because they always got a lot of funny trusts that own shares all over the place, the Ashcroft Alliance.
Oh,
right?
Okay. Now I get you.
And I just refer to them as the alliance because, you know, he want to tell you he not got no interest in this and all of that, and he has some charitable trusts and all of these nonsense that he like to take us, you know, like Puppy Show. And so the fundamental issue here is that in looking at this whole process, if it was a forthright, straight-up transaction like the Chamber was saying, then the information would have been forthcoming. And then persons, in terms of their own concerns and their own cynicism would have not been applied as clearly as it was, because then persons start to speculate about profitability, whether it's dumping, whether all of these things. And it made it very difficult, even for professional people like myself, who is very familiar with the telecom industry, to argue against some of the concerns that people were raising, because we lacked the information. So what we did was a tremendous amount of speculation in trying to say why it's a good deal, because we look at it from a speculative standpoint to consolidate the industry. And that's how I justify the position if I look through the BTL management and board lens. Now, Smart, of course, will have to go make investment, and in order
which
to
they
compete.
said they will. But listen to this,
again,
Troy. In the release from Smart on Friday, it says, it made reference that, okay, in 2022, BTL had approached SpeedNet with an offer to purchase the company. And then again in mid-2025. On the first occasion, BTL terminated the discussion due to public sentiment, right? Mm-hmm. In 2025, well, here we are now. And then it goes on to say,
same old.
Yeah, BTL has held market dominance in Belize for 25 years. That reference is not just there for reference sake, right? It's telling you exactly what the PUC had indicated. Mm-hmm. So when it continued, it said, and following the government taking ownership in 2009, regulatory practices have heavily favored BTL, putting SpeedNet at a deliberate competitive disadvantage, despite the market liberalization goals enacted in the 2002 telecommunication legislation. And then it goes on to talk about fair tender requirements, PUC determination of BTL dominance, mandatory infrastructure sharing. So this essentially, if you're reading and writing on the wall, is setting the stage for the lawsuit. And it made it clear for the last 25 years. You understand? So how do you make a determination of how Smart has been jilted for the last 25 years by unfair or not on level playing fields?
Well, it's a legal matter.
And so it is something that I think that the Belizean people need to...
For me is...
To anticipate, to
two things again.
Don't be surprised when it comes.
You can't... Again, the government certainly have to look at the situation and say, you know what, whatever it is, I won't let that be a gun to my head.
Okay, so Troy, I just got another clarification that BNTU is standing down as well. So they did say that...
Notre Dame.
They did say that even if NTUCB protested or not, they were still going to do it. And now I'm told
that
they
are pragmatic people in this country, just like me.
Down.
And there is pragmatism that
and
you
so
apply
they're
to
having
these
a
things.
press conference tomorrow, but they said that has more to do with oh my goodness, that has more to do with other national issues.
That's fine.
So
that's fine. I mean, that's the proper way to, without hurting your image and your value, by having the press conference, because you don't need to then have this huge amount of persons out on the street. And mobilization costs. There is a cost to mobilize, and if you don't have a legitimate position, you're going to be spending a lot of money to pay for empty buses or have empty buses, those sort of things. And it has a cost, and you won't have the impact. And then you're going to get lambasted by your same members, because remember, these areas are split down the middle. They're not cut and dry one way all the time. You have supporters from both sides of the political divide as well. So when I look at these things, I weigh all of these odds and say whether or not the issue is so big enough that you would be able to mobilize more than 50% of your membership, meaning that you have to get some of the persons from the other side to join in with you. But it's 29 minutes, more like 28 minutes now to 8 o'clock, so I want to take a break and we come right back.
Good morning. Moist and unstable conditions prevail over the country. And in the 24-hour forecast, skies will be cloudy at times, becoming mostly cloudy this afternoon. A few showers and isolated thunderstorms will occur mostly over the south coast and offshore this morning. Activity will gradually increase and then spread around the country during this afternoon into tonight. Then high temperatures will reach around 87 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 92 inland, and then 80 up in the hills. Low temperatures for tonight will reach around 80 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 72 inland, and then 68 in the mountains. Winds over the open sea will be from the east to northeast at 10 to 20 knots, with sea conditions being light chop to choppy. And operators of small crafts should exercise caution near heavy showers or thunderstorms. Then low tides occur at 7:30 this morning and at 7:16 tonight. High tides at 1:17 this afternoon, then at 1:12 tomorrow morning. The moon will rise at 10:01 this morning and set at 9:40 tonight, while sunset is at 6:17 this evening and sunrise at 5:36 tomorrow morning. And now for the extended forecast. Skies will be cloudy at times, with generally isolated showers or isolated thunderstorms expected for Tuesday, then slightly more over the south on Tuesday night. And finally, for the tropical weather outlook, tropical cyclone formation is not expected over the North Atlantic basin during the next 48 hours. And this has been this morning's weather report from the National Meteorological Service.
It's now 20 minutes to 8 o'clock. If you got to be at work at 8 and you're not already on your way, chances are you might be late, Renee.
Troy, today's day one. My niece, my